Hello, and welcome to Rallying the Forge. I'm your host, Sol. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rallying the Forge. I am Solimer, and in today's video, we are going to go over Set 4 Alloyin creatures, a little bit of a review. We're going to go through some of the Darkforged creatures, the non-Darkforged creatures, and we'll have kind of three other cards, some other things we'll explain as we get to them. So the first thing, though, is in my last video, we had an opportunity to win a Set 4 booster code, courtesy of Stoneblade Entertainment. So what you had to do was comment on my previous video, either what your favorite spell was or what you would have included either as one of the top spells listed there or an honorable mention. So we had 5 responses, all very interesting. So I'm going to read through them real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and spin to see who wins the booster code. So we had the Puffin Man commented, "It's not the most powerful, but I really like Vampiric Hunger. Getting to impact the board while giving one of your creatures the slay ability has been really great. I've run it with a Sparking Omni, a Seer Mecha Mage, and Fire Fist Uranti deck and gotten a lot of slay triggers." That is definitely a really good spell for Necrium. Definitely could have made the list, maybe as an honorable mention still. Maybe could have cracked the top 7, depending. Maybe push one of those Tempest ones out. But definitely it's on the higher end of the spells there, definitely. Ankh Gaming commented, "I think Elemental Discovery is low-key one of the most powerful Tempest spells in the set. I think it is better than Stormstrike personally, because the floor is so high and requires no setup whatsoever to be good. There is no board state where any two of the modes is bad, unless you are on the verge of losing anyway. And the amount of damage it can push out of nowhere is absurd. Probably my favorite spell of the set right now for aggressive strategies." So I had mentioned the Discovery spells, I feel like, in some capacity. Just that I didn't have an opinion on them. Some are good, some are not. That is definitely one of the better ones. And I have not played with it a whole lot, but it's definitely interesting. I do know my son had a deck with that spell in it, and it did at the time seem really good, at least for his deck, but I have not played against it a lot, so definitely it's still on the low key there, I think. Maybe not as much anymore as I keep talking about it here, but it's definitely one to look out for, and I'll definitely be looking for that to see what decks I have that in that I can potentially test that out in. So definitely looking forward to playing with that. Raji Ha says, "I think my favorite spells from Set 4 are Vicious Rampage and Endless Hunt, not because they are reliable or consistent or anything, but they are a lot of fun when they go off and can lead to some surprising swings. Channeling Axe is another favorite, although I don't have it in the right deck yet." Definitely agree with the statement. There are a lot of fun cards in this set, and those two definitely can lead to some surprising swings, as he says. So definitely agree with that. We have Gambit says, "My favorite new spell is Fire Squad. It's more situational, but very fun and powerful. Also, I have a Fire Squad deck with a Betrayer Channeling Axe, which I like to pair with an Elementalist Ritual deck to increase non-combat damage and keep an Elemental around." That's just, so, for one, I don't have a lot of good Elementalist Ritual decks. Obviously, when you're getting that, you kind of want that with like an RSC type deck. It's very strong in that. But I just don't have a good one, period. So I didn't think about that interaction with blasting and the Elementalist Ritual. That can be really good, especially if you have some stuff that can let you chain some spells, free spells there. I don't have a strong Fire Squad deck where it's like you always want to play it. The level 1 feels a little bit weak maybe, but as you level it up, it gets stronger. If you have a deck that can build a good board state, I can definitely see where that's going to be, blasting your opponent a bunch. So, and with the Elementalist Ritual out there, that could be board wiping type of power right there. So, that sounds like a lot of fun if you can get to go off. And I know he works with Alloyin decks. Like he's one of the better players with Alloyin, so I can understand why he has that and can use that. So definitely something to consider if you have those cards. If I did, I would definitely be considering making a deck along those lines. And then lastly, we have Traveler, who said, I believe the strongest spells are the underdrop ones, and Stroke of Genius being the best of the bunch. My personal favorites are Rise and Shine and Hammer Flame. At the last Scuba Toad sale, I purchased a Fuse, which runs both spells twice. Getting to play a set 4 only deck while having acceptable removal feels like an edge you're not supposed to have. And I agree. Set 4's removal is very hit and miss. They don't have, it's not consistent like in the other sets. But they do have removal. It's just more limited and not the focus of the decks in set 4 so far that I've seen. People obviously try to take advantage of certain things, like you have the Darkforged Cackle Bones and the Hydra there that can be removal for a Necrium Darkforged deck. It's so having a lot of removal can feel very powerful in set 4. I do like the underdrop spells. Obviously, I feel Pestilence is the best. But he feels Stroke of Genius is the best, and my response to that was its only flaw is that it's Alloyin. So I haven't gotten to Betrayer Stroke of Genius, but I imagine Betrayer ones would be very strong in whatever faction they end up in. But I do like the underdrop spells. They are well designed, I think. I'm trying to think what Utera's is. I don't know off the top of my head. But I know Tempest, the damage, it's decent. It may be a little weak, actually, compared to the other ones, just at first thought. But obviously, the Pestilence, love it. Stroke of Genius, love it. Tempest one is okay with Terra's. I'm trying to think of what theirs is, and I'm blanking on it. It might be, is that the one that plays minions? Oak Fathers, maybe? That's okay. Don't know how I feel about it, but yeah. So these 5 players have earned. It's 5. Yep, 5 players have earned the opportunity to win a booster code. So we're going to shuffle this up, and then we will spin it and see who wins. So I will DM them the code on probably Discord, because I have them all on Discord. That's where I have the codes as well. So if I didn't have them, I would try to message them through YouTube, but we'll do it through Discord. And, we're going to see who wins it here. And Traveler is going to win. Congratulations, Peter. I will send you that code soon. You'll have the code probably before the video is actually posted up here. So congratulations. Thank you for participating and commenting on my video. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the comments from everybody. I try to respond to everyone's comments on my videos, as I don't get thousands. I get, tens at most. So it's easier for me to respond. But I do appreciate everyone's contributions to the videos, the comments, any feedback. I'm open to all of it, so never hesitate to post a comment, no matter what it is, positive, negative. I'm open to it and happy to work with people if there's stuff they don't like that I put up or anything of that nature, or if they like something, I like to know it so I can keep doing it. So thank you, and I'll send you that code, Peter. We'll get that over to you, and yeah, so congratulations on that. And now we're going to start the review of set 4 Alloyin creatures. We're going to start with the Darkforged creatures. I'm not, of course, doing betrayers, no betrayers. I've got 17. There were 17, I think, in the set for Alloyin. And so there we go. So the first one I'm going to talk about, I picked 2 that I thought that I liked, that I think are 2 of the better ones. There's a lot of opinions on this, can go a lot of different ways. Obviously, the deck you have cards in is going to matter. But by and large, when I see this card in a deck, a Darkforged deck, I'm instantly happy and trying to see, can I make this work? It is such a strong card, in my opinion. So you can read the text. When you play him, he does 3 damage to you. And then at level 1, he does damage equal to what you've taken to an enemy creature. 1 creature. Level 2 is 2 creatures. And level 3 is all of the enemies. So this could be really good with Carl's deck if he had the Firestorm and paired it with an Elementalist Ritual deck. Having this go off with, I mean, you could just easily wipe a board with this. This is the level 3 is great. The level 2 is solid as well, can be, and depending on what you build it with, obviously you want to take damage, so you need stuff to either be able to activate to deal damage, or you have warped stuff, or the Forgeborn ability that does 3 damage for each creature you have out there. You pay to keep them out there. That can stack up with this. So many ways with Darkforged decks to take advantage of this. I feel like as long as you draw him when you need him, if you have your decks built halfway decently, you can get this to go off and do a significant amount of damage to your opponent's creatures, and potentially wipe their board, and really either, you're going to change his board state hopefully in your favor, but it can either give you a reset if you're losing. If you're winning, it can potentially put you over the top to finish them off. So this is one of my favorite Darkforged cards, but also I think the best Darkforged card in Alloyin. And that's just my opinion, but like I said, it's all subjective depending on different people. So the other one I chose this. So this could be a controversial pick. I think this card, because it's an activate now, is really good. Even just the regular Oracle was good, with just being able to upgrade, and then the level 3 ability, upgrading a card, upgraded 2 times instead. So I really like this one. I chose this over Omenseer because Omenseer is just like a bad Drix, although having a Drix-like ability is really good. I felt like I like this card better. I would love to have the Omenseer, this, and the Yeti all in the same deck. Maybe a Darkforged Loyalty, maybe another Darkforged card. We've seen some, I think, what is it, a 7 Darkforged card deck in Tempest that Casey Kidd got. So we know the Darkforged cards you can have a ton of them in a deck. Just a matter of drawing it. So, but I like this one. I figured I'd go with this one over the Omenseer, because I do like this ability, upgrading cards. Oftentimes in your hand, you have 5 cards outside of decks that are going to have a ton of free plays. You're not playing all of them, obviously. You might play 3 on average at most. You're going to play at least 2, and if you're lucky, you're going to get to play a third. So you've always got 2 cards that you're probably not going to play. This allows you to upgrade one of those cards, and that can really help you late in the game if it goes that far. Darkforged decks do like to accelerate the speed of the game, but sometimes there are strategies to make it go longer, at least into cycle 3, where you could see these level 3 cards. So that was my second pick for the Darkforged cards, and that's all I picked for them. And then the rest of these are just alphabetical. I'm not trying to pick a card. I'm not trying to rank them from 1 to whatever. This is just 5 of the most impactful cards in set 4 for Alloyin. These are the regular cards, and this is the first one. So Alloyin Kest, he's the stealth. I'm blanking on Windspark Elemental. So he's the Alloyin version of that. His stats are not horrible, and with this set, of course, you have other things that can help pump him up. Besides gizmos, but you could use gizmos too. So I really like him. I think he's a good card. Never sad to see him in a deck. Oftentimes in the good Alloyin decks that I've seen, like a card like this he's on the weaker end of them, but if he's your weakest creature in your Alloyin half, that's not bad. Like, in my opinion, it's really good. So I really like him. And I should state for this, I didn't select any of the forged cards with the various modifiers. I do have one I selected at the end that I'll tell you which modifier I feel is best. But all of these are going to be your non-forged creatures. So Alloyin Kest, first one, and then the second one is Pummel Pack, and obviously everyone, this might be the best Alloyin card in the set. Trying to think, I feel like this is it. This card is so good. It's like a better gizmo minion that gives you better stats along the way, and then you also get the activate on the augment portion there. It's just such a good card. There's so many uses for this. Everyone knows that this card doesn't really need much explaining. It's probably the best card in Alloyin in set 4. So yeah, we got Pummel Pack. The next card is Riven Veros. I think that's how you say it, Riven Veros. And I haven't seen much of him. I don't know if it's just because he's rare, there's a low amount of him going around, or just a low amount of good Alloyin decks with him in it. One, he's mobility and defender, so he's hard to kill if you're trying to keep him alive. And he's got that flexibility if you need to move him over to kill something small or whatever it might be, block some damage. He's got that capability, but obviously his big thing is enemy player can't play cards from their banish pile or discard pile. This card, a Betrayer version of this card, into one of the stronger set 4 archetypes would be bonkers. It's hard. I've discussed before how hard it is to find a really good Alloyin set 4 deck. I think there will be some good high roll ones that'll come out eventually, and they're going to be really, really good. Until then, I think he's going to be found in mediocre decks, and if the set 4 Alloyin decks are going up against the decks that this would be really effective against, I still think those decks are going to get steamrolled. So you need to betray him into a better situation where, the other half deck that you have with him in it can really apply pressure to your opponent or disrupt everything else, and then he just adds to that. So he stops things like Necromancer, stops for I don't know. I think he does. The Army Commander still is allowed, except for maybe AC3 is not allowed now, but AC4 works maybe. Unsure on the wording on those offhand. Prevents reanimation effects. Does not stop Stitchers, is my understanding. But there's a lot of things there that they prevent from happening that a lot of those, I want to say Necrium Utera decks, where they do a lot of this stuff and it's part of their, when they're playing, that's part of their ecosystem, is being able to do that stuff. When you take that away from them, it really strips them of a lot of power. So he has really high potential. I don't think we've seen him in a high-end Alloyin deck yet or other deck yet. If he is, I haven't seen it, but I haven't played a ton of Q or events with people, so we're still waiting on it, but I anticipate he will become a card people seek, in my opinion, probably as a betrayer, but still, the card itself is very strong, and I don't think people realize how strong he can be. So I selected him. The next card is going to be one that I think everyone's familiar with, especially from sealed events, and that is, of course, our good friend, the Steelhorn Vanguard. So this card is awesome. He's obviously susceptible to things that reduce health, but with set 4 Alloyin, there's augments, and you replace something and they give them plus attack and health. So you can boost its health. There's other things you can do to boost its health as well, obviously. So boosting its health makes it, survive even better against the negative health effects. But it does have armor, so it's not necessarily going to die from damage from people. But every turn, this can get plus attack equal to its armor. 4, 6, and 8. This is one of the, and it has breakthrough. This is one of the better creatures you can have in Alloyin. This thing can get out of control. Every turn, it's getting 4, 6, or 8 attack. Obviously, it starts at 0, but still, a 4/1 with 4 armors, pretty good at the start. If you lay it on top of an augment, even a gizmo, it's going to get +2/+2. So it comes out as like a 6/3 with 4 armor. That's pretty good stats. So with breakthrough too, and then so it's just a really good card. This is definitely up there. Definitely a top 5 card for Alloyin in this set, I think. I really like this creature. I love this when you get some augments with it, that when you have a variety, it's not like, I got one augment creature I can use it with. If you have, they 3, 4, or 5 different ones in the set for the replacement synergy anyway, dropping him on one of those guys, it's so strong. So really love him. So if you haven't seen him yet, be on the lookout for him. Get him in one of your decks. He's awesome. Really love that card. And then the last one we're going to talk about for my 5 that I selected is Veilbite, and this is my favorite augment for second favorite. Pummel Pack's the best. This is probably my second favorite augment. This is one of my favorite to drop on the Steelhorn Vanguard, though. I love these two together. It gives 4/3 stats at level 1, gives stealth, so the Vanguard already, it has breakthrough armor, has everything you need, but not taking damage every other turn really can help it grow and get out of control. So this is a great augment to see. I love seeing Pummel Pack, Veilbite in the same deck. Don't like the Vanguard on the Pummel Pack though, because you don't get to use one of the abilities. But nonetheless, this one gives a ton of stats to a creature, which is really nice. You could leave this out there on its own, where it might not get killed off, and then the next turn use it to replace on something. Can be really good. So definitely one of my favorite augments. It gives so much in the stats to another creature. It's just great. So this was my 5 top Alloyin cards, Alloyin creatures rather. Agree, disagree. Feel free to comment your thoughts, how you feel about it. So the next card we're going to do is a card that I think SBE screwed up on. I've been vocal about this to an extent in chat here and there. I really, really, really hate this card. This is basically Verlana, but worse in every sense of the manner. If they would have made this card like Verlana, even if they don't have the warrior requirement, if they didn't have like a scientist requirement or anything, they leave the stats like this but make it an activate. This card makes Alloyin. It has a card that can be so strong that it can be competitive with other decks. That's what they needed, and they, for some reason, went this other direction because Verlana has to be warriors, but they have a ton of warrior synergy, so it's not even, and some of the warriors are ridiculous in their own right, so it doesn't even matter. It's like, oh, warrior synergy? It's not a negative. Is it limiting a little bit? Sure, but it's not a negative. And she does health, so she kills things. This is just attack, so you have to combat to kill things, or you reduce your damage incoming. So it's already on the negative side of that. Like the health is so much more powerful than the attack. So it not having the warrior restriction would have been fine. This was a major screw up in my opinion. This card should have been activated at each level, and this card would be it'd just be a much better card. I don't want to say be top tier. I don't know for sure. I'd have to think about that some, but it'd be a very strong card, and people would be actually happy to see it in their deck. So this is my card that I think they screwed up the most on in Alloyin. This one really just bothers me to an extent, I guess. I really wish this would be an activate. It'd be such a game changer for Alloyin. So it's unfortunate. That's that card. And then we have this is my honorable mention that I'm not a big fan of, but I assume most people would have put in their top 5. So obviously Dr. Built-A-Bot. Some people love him. I don't. I hate his level 1. It's basically useless. So it's just a 3/5 creature. His level 2 obviously is much better, but you had to play the level 1 to get there. So I feel like in set 4, a 3/5 is well underpowered. So it's a bad play in almost every situation I can think of. And it's tough with Alloyin to begin with to get, like, you'd need a really, really strong Alloyin deck for that to be okay. If you already have a bad Alloyin deck and you're playing him, like, it's just, I mean, maybe that's your best play at that point. But so I don't like the level 1. It does not, playing an augment from your hand, you're not getting the plus stats on that. You're just getting the augment ability. And depending on what that is, that could be a keyword. That could be stealth, movement, armor. Like, that's okay. The biggest bonus of of the augments is normally the stat gain. If you have Necreum creatures that you're destroying, you want that stat gain. That's the biggest part you want. The other stuff is okay, but it's the stat gain. So playing it from your hand, obviously, you can play it in an open lane. Depending on the situation, then you have it there for the next turn to drop something onto it. But if you're going to play it with the idea of putting it on a creature already, I don't know. Unless, because I haven't played with it, maybe you can't play the augment and put it on someone. You have to put it into play as a creature. So in that case, it's just like playing a creature or a spell for free, depending on a lot of what you pair this with. And there's other stuff that does that better. It's not restricted to just augments. So, not a big fan of this card. I think a lot of people are big on him. I'm not. Obviously, the level 3 could be nice, but again, to get there, it's a long road. I'm not sure it's worth it. Now, maybe you pair it with the Darkforged Oracle and you're upgrading him along the way. And that might be a way to get around it. Obviously, there's worse cards to play leveling up to get the level 3 benefit, but I'm just not a fan of this one, and I think a lot of people are, and they probably would have put this in their top 5. I did not. I would not. And then my last card is going to be my pick for best Forge Modifier. So we have the developing strategist here shown. I think that might have been the best combination I found for the developing at a quick glance. But developing gives you upgrade a card in your hand, then discard it at level 1 and 2. And level 3 is just upgrade a card in your hand. So I think that's the most for not considering stats. I wasn't looking at like which one gives you the best stat bonus. I looked at which one gives you an actual ability. And I feel the upgrade was probably the best, most useful, consistent that you have. And the strategist, for example, can give you a really big boost on attack to 2 creatures when you play it. If you have that on the, if they have that lineup going, and it's also a warrior. So this card in particular is one of the better forged creatures you can get, in my opinion, in Alloyin. My second place one for this one was going to be shocking diminisher, but which is the diminisher gives a creature like -4 attack at level 1. Maybe it goes 4, 6, 8. I'm not positive, or 4, 8, 12 maybe. But shock gives all enemy creatures -1, then -2 and -3. And I really like it because it's the same synergy right there, but also really good in decks that want to suppress your opponent's attack. If you use like Flash Wave or whatnot with it. There's a lot of good things there, but the problem with the diminisher is it has 1 health, so it's basically you use it to reduce everything's attack and then maybe chump block something, or I don't even know. Like, it's just so weak in that regard for that to get that effect. It sucks in that regard, but otherwise it's a cool combination there. But this was the best, I think. Developing is the most consistent and almost always going to be useful to players. And there's a lot of other synergies you can build off of with upgrading. So yeah, that's what I've got. So that's my set 4 Alloyin creature review. Feel free to comment if you disagree with any of my selections, or if you agree with it. If you have, what other cards would you have picked? Did I miss something that I overlooked? Again, I didn't talk about betrayers. I'm not doing the betrayer thing with all this. That would be infinitely more complicated. And then you wouldn't even see that many actual Alloyin cards. You'd see a lot of betrayer cards because there's just so many other better cards that you could have. So, yeah. Let me know. Share your thoughts. I'm love to hear them. and we'll do another one of these for the next faction, whatever it'll end up being. And I appreciate your time. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and or comment if you so choose. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. This has been an episode of Rallying the Forge. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.